Oh my god, okay. I have played 193 hours of Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I mean, granted, I'm an overachiever. Really, the story is just 60 to 80 hours long. Happy New Year's, guys! I'm Lady Pelvic with Pelvic Gaming, bringing you my first review of 2018 on Xenoblade Chronicles 2 for the Nintendo Switch, which came out December 1st, 2018. So I'm only a month late, not too bad. Quick history, I've played Xenogears, Chronicles 1 and X, and no, you don't have to play any of the other Chronicles to know anything about this game. So this is going to be a packed and spoiler-free review. The only thing you're going to see is some rare and legendary blades, so if that bothers you, I encourage you to come back at another time. Alright, trying to make this concise as possible. Let's go. The story opens up with Rex, a heroic, money-loving salvager boy with a big heart, living on a small titan known as Azurda, or as he calls him, Gramps. Rex narrates the lore of the world of Allrest, a sea of clouds where titans live and people live among the titans. He speaks of a paradise known as Elysium, a land on top of the Great World Tree, where the architect, the creator of the world as they know it, lives. However, titans are slowly dying, and nobody entirely knows why. Rex is known for his extraordinary salvaging skills as he gets hired by Chairman Bana, a certainly not villainous Nopon, to go on an expedition with some drivers. The goal is to pull up a sunken ship and take the treasure deep inside. The treasure, known as the Aegis, later known as Pyra, a legendary blade that awakens to Rex, making him a driver. Or rather, becomes part of his life. Literally. But not after explaining her request to take her to Elysium. After agreeing, in the series of unfortunate events, the band of drivers turn against him, one of which side with Rex. Nia, a saucy cat girl who's not afraid to bare her fangs. After a rough battle, Rex and his newly acquired crew bombastically escape, and thus you find yourself off to find paradise. First off, Xenoblade 2 has excellent story pacing, separating them out by chapters. But it wasn't like Chronicles X that forbid you from doing certain tasks while you were in story mode. It was progress at your own pace. You want to dilly-dally doing side quests? Go for it. You want to progress story while doing side quests? Go for it. The world was your oyster. In addition, at the very end of every chapter, a bomb was dropped. Excellent cliffhangers or reveals every time, desperately making you want to continue the story. I was invested, and there were comedic moments that were interestingly timed and had sort of an anime flair.
Were you so frightened by our power that you wet yourself, furry ears?
Did I what? You've got a lot of nerve, you one-eyed monster.
Nia, you do know one-eyed monster usually means...
Huh? Means what?
It's, Mithra, why are you blushing?
Shut up!
What I explained is only the beginning. There is war among people, Torna, the main antagonist and terrorist group, illegal weapon manufacturing, and some passive-aggressive romance. Any good story has fantastic and fleshed out characters, and they were pretty good. Wasn't a fan of the main characters, Rex, who's like a goody, two-shoes, help everyone and your mother type of hero, and Pyra, who's a bland piece of toast. You know what? No, she's not even toast. She's bread. You know, toast can be crunchy, burnt, warm. Bread is just bread. It's just bread. Bland, boring, bitch-ass bread. To me, she was just kind of there. She sat there like a good girl unless spoken to, and she just had minimal input. Listen, for all you Pyra lovers out there, there's nothing wrong with loving a basic-ass bitch. They need love too. But I just need you to know that she definitely classifies as a basic-ass bitch. And I'm just gonna throw this out there. I don't really think people like Pyra for her personality. Some people can argue that later in the game she gets better, but by that time, I didn't give a fuck. And I wouldn't even say she makes some grand character development. If anything, I'd say it's subtle. And I'm not going to get into details, but Mithra and Pyra are one. And Mithra is more cheeky, but it's like, if ketchup was Pyra, Mithra is like cocktail sauce. And if you don't know, cocktail sauce is just ketchup with a small dollop of horseradish. The difference isn't vast, just enough to be noticeable. And then we have Tora, a Nopon genius engineer who wields an artificial blade, Poppy. Mentioned before, Nia, a fiery attitude cat girl and her blade Dromark, a wise white tiger, and more. Personally, my favorite is Morag, Special Inquisitor of Mor Ardain. She is grounded, forward-thinking, mature adult of the group, without being typecasted as the mom. While Morag is a military woman, she is not cold and stoic. She has emotion and a realism about her. She's not very gimmicky or over the top, but that's what separates her from everyone. She carries herself with such poise and grace while being a total badass.
And what if we resist?
Then I will have to restrain you by force.
The gameplay is going to be a lot to grasp. Let me start off with the biggest feature, blades. Blades are pretty much weapons who lend you their power. They come in 3 types, attacker, healer, and tank. You receive these blades from core crystals, and there are 3 types, common, rare, and legendary. You go through them hoping to get a rare blade, meaning not one of these generic looking fucks known as common blades. For some reason, you'll get common blades when you open a legendary core crystal, which is stupid. It's a terrible gacha system. And most rare blades can only be obtained from this. So good luck going through the tedious time opening, option to boost whatever blade you get, an unskippable awakening cutscene, then a skippable blade revealing cutscene, only to be told that you're unable to carry more blades and you have to release the blades, and they say this unskippable piece of dialogue before leaving, and it's just fucking tedious. If you get a rare blade, the same thing happens, but the cutscene is more magical because it's not one of these common shits that you see in their cutscene over and over and over again. What they should have done is have an option of opening and releasing multiple cores at the same time, and if you got a rare blade, you see the cutscene. Because this process was entirely too time consuming. And just something of note, they say if you raise your luck skill while opening core crystals, there's a higher chance of getting a rare blade. I thought that was true at a point in time. Nah man, I believe it's 100% random. A lot of people compare this to loot boxes, specifically Overwatch. Kinda sorta, because Overwatch you can actually pay for them, where these there's no real money exchanging going on. Also, Overwatch though is just purely cosmetic. But in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, yeah, it totally does affect the gameplay. Why? Because they have special abilities and special quests unique to them, so you'll be missing out on little bits of story. So hooray for not using real money, but possibly missing out on a story because you don't have time for this RNG bullshit. So instead of using real money and be like, man, you really fucked up, you made us use an RNG system, and that's still kind of fucked up. So it's a lesser fuck up, but you're still fucked up. So anyways, blades have battle skills, aka arts, field skills which are used out in the field to lockpick or jump, overall help explore, which is also super tedious. If you didn't have the correct blades in your active party, you'd have to rearrange your party so you had enough total points to meet the field skills requirement. Then arrange your original party back again. Field skills are absolutely needed to fully explore all rest. Common blades are actually great for field skills simply because rare blades don't always have the necessary field skills, rather a skill totally unique to them. What they should have done was interchangeable blade groups. One blade group could be lockpicking, another could be leaping, etc. Now about all these skills in the skill tree, how do you obtain them? Trust, which is the fucking worst. Trust is experience for blades. When you're fighting, you'll notice a blue link. When it goes from blue to gold, you're at max affinity, which gains you trust and allows your unlocked passive skills to activate. Plus, you move faster and arts recharge quicker. There are also items to help increase the trust you gain from battle and quests. Commons are quick to gain trust, but rare blades take forever. In fact, I feel like that's something they should have revised considering there are 28 rare blades, not considering the ones you automatically get, Pyra, Dromark, etc. I'm not going to dive into specifics, but some blades were just not worth the trouble unlocking their skill tree. Once you unlock an entire row, then you have to see what you have to do to unlock that certain skill, like fight X amount of enemies, use a certain attack X amount of times, complete a specific side quest unique to that specific blade, etc. It's just so time consuming. And then Poppy, which is an artificial blade, has this little game called Tiger, where you can use points to upgrade her, completely separate from all the other blades. I didn't dabble in this much, I didn't really enjoy it. Point is, if you're a completionist, well, Godspeed. And jumping on side quests, there is a ton of them to do. Not as much as the first game, which I kind of liked. It gave you a little bit of a breather. If you're going to be tackling a lot of side quests, prepare for a decent amount of salvaging, which are timed minigames. Warning, if you hate fetch quests, you are going to hate every single side quest in this game. I also hate that you have to go and claim your reward for every quest. Opposed to Xenoblade Chronicles, collectible quests you simply got the reward after you obtained the amount needed. That being said, you can set quests to active as you'll see how many steps you are away from the next objective. Not only are there side quests, but later in the game you have access to mercenary missions, aka missions you send your spare blades on, which gets you passive experience, trust with your blades, and merc points, which will let you unlock another level of mercenary missions, and development points. Development points are used when you buy from a town, eventually unlocking better items in shops, and allowing you to become shop owners, which gives you perks like moving faster or gaining more gold and experience in battle. Drivers now. Drivers have their own unique skill tree, There are weapon points, aka WP, which you could use to upgrade your arts. You gain them based on what weapons you use. And you have a standard equip system for blades and drivers alike. And some may say this part is a nitpick, but I believe it's a fair criticism. When you upgrade your weapons for blades, you see the improved version in one direction, and for drivers it's the opposite. I felt this was a very dumb design choice, and the inconsistency threw me off every time. And now to dive into the combat, which I wouldn't say is complex as it is cumbersome. Long story short, it's pretty much pressing buttons in a timely manner. If you've played Chronicles 1 or X, it's pretty much the same thing, but bulkier. Target an enemy and you auto-attack. Auto-attacking fills up your arts seen by the diamond around the icon, and the button with the Roman numeral is your special. There are 4 levels of your special, 1 being the weakest, 4 being the strongest. Blade combos are specific elemental specials used in succession, one always being more powerful than the last. You can start a blade combo with a level 1 or higher special, and then the next special has to be one of 2 elements at level 2. The last combo has to be a level 3 or higher to perform a successful blade combo. After a blade combo, an elemental orb of the last element used in the blade combo will circle the enemy. That means you can't use that blade combo route again. What you can do, however, is have multiple orbs around the enemy and then start a chain attack and try for an elemental burst. An elemental burst is destroying one of the orbs, and how you do that is use the opposite element, or at the very least an element that isn't the same type as the orb. And an elemental burst allows you to do even more damage by hacking the enemy another round. Really, the only gripe I have here is fix the camera angles, because half the time you didn't actually get to see the cool move take place. At times, cameras posed a problem while traveling, as you could have it too far out and it didn't work well indoors, although it did let you see more of the area when outdoors. Or you could zoom in, more or less play in first person and look at your favorite blade's ass. But really, it was a cool feature that they did with the camera, you just have to make an extra effort to adjust accordingly. And there's a bit more to pay attention to in battle, like character positioning, enemy elemental weaknesses, debuffs, aggro, meaning who the enemy is paying attention to, enemies being enraged and doing more damage, unique monsters versus regular monsters, accessorizing and whatnot. So have fun paying attention to everything while enduring the repetitive combat lines.
Think you can catch me? Think you can catch me?
For sure.
Don't forget me!
Stay strong.
Think you can catch me? You can catch me! Don't forget me! Don't forget me!
One thing that this game did terribly, considering how much information you're forced to remember, is tutorials. There is no way to review the tutorials again. They tell you once and you just have to remember. Another terrible design choice. Now, fast traveling the world of All Rest is absolutely frustrating, as they didn't provide the greatest navigation tools. When you first enter the fast travel map, there is a gold icon representing where you are. And then when you click on one of the continents, particularly the same continent you're on, the gold icon goes away. So you have no idea where specifically you are on that continent, unless you go through each section and see yourself on the map rather than by the name of the location. Plus, your mini-map or enlarged map was very vague, with just blue dots signaling something was there. Not if it was a quest, a shop, someone to talk to. Also, I'm not the only one who experienced some technical difficulties while playing this game, where you get a little error screen or I simply couldn't move. Sometimes I regain my movements, sometimes not. Anyone else having this issue where you can't move for some reason? I'm covering things because spoilers, but like the camera moves. You could see the camera moving a bit. Alright. Graphics, they were okay if they loaded or didn't constantly, clip the hair, phase through things in cutscenes. I know it sounds like a nitpick, but man, it was rough. Looking at Mithra's hair, it was all over the place and looked atrocious. Textures loaded while you were traversing the world, and sometimes there was straight up and no floor for a few seconds. Aside from these things, yeah, it was fine. It was just fine. I didn't mind the quote-unquote anime look, as I think it's my favorite out of the Chronicles. Particularly when it came to the characters and Torna, as they were all designed by Tetsuya Nomura. It totally reminds you of Kingdom Hearts, which in terms of graphics is fine in my book. And finally, the resolution certainly takes a hit in handheld mode, but the price you pay for portability. On the topic of graphic and art, the design of some of these blades I have mixed feelings on. Listen, I'm all about not censoring things, sexiness, but some of the sexiness was just so over the top. It made me cringe a little bit. Let me be clear, big boobs aren't the problem here. Bad design is. Like Dahlia. What is going on here? It's literally a tiny Chinese dress with a floral design. I can give credit for her hair turning into bunny ears, and that's about it. Newt is kinda sorta one of my personal favorites. Like, I enjoy her personality and part of her design. She has a military attitude, the gruffness of a drill sergeant, buff-ass arms, but her outfit, why? It just ripped away her military standing and instead made me want her to step on me, spit in my mouth, and call me a whore, you know what I mean? But by all means, if that's what the developers were going for, well, congrats. Mission accomplished, soldier. And the boob physics, prune, and other rare blades have jiggly boobs of that of dead or alive. Slight movement and they're jiggling all over the place. And Pyra, what are her bottoms? It kind of looks like a thong over short shorts. Like, what are these rare blade outfits?
I am Pelika, and I will thrust justice upon my enemies.
I'm Pelly, and I will pelvic thrust crime in the forces of evil.
I'm Pelvic, and I will hump you.
I'm a legendary blade.
On a positive note, I did enjoy the fact that different artists design different blades. As you'll notice from the styles, some are drastically different than others. To save on time, I've linked to a Reddit thread that shows who designed what in the description below. As for driver designs, I didn't really care except for Morag. Her outfit made sense as Special Inquisitor. I like the bars over her face, giving her kind of a soldier aesthetic. Bits of armor that covered different areas of her outfit, and I kind of like that she's a bit androgynous, and that they touch up on that in different quests, or heart-to-hearts, which are casual conversations between characters.
So stubborn, with hot spring right before eyes. Come on, Morag. Drop clothes like man and jump in hot spring. Tora not have all day.
You know I'm a woman, don't you?
Lastly, the music, I really enjoyed. Each region has their own night and day theme, staying true to the Xenoblade games. The daytime music is uplifting, adventurous, encourages you to get up and get out there and uncover what the world has to offer. The nighttime does the exact opposite. It puts you to sleep, it relaxes you. I can't tell you how many times I just wanted to pass out from traveling the world at night. But before we get to my favorite nighttime track, I want to take a moment to touch up on the English voice acting. It was bad that got better. Several times I didn't find the characters' body language matching what was leaving their mouth. There were a few times that the characters were talking but their mouth was closed, or even some characters' voices weren't bad, but they didn't fit the character. Nia is supposed to be a kid, but her voice sounds too mature to be that of, I'm estimating, a 15-16-year-old.
A child salvager.
Jen, don't tell me we're gonna have to hire some babysitters for this outing too.
What the hell? You look as much like a kid as I do, lady.
The only reason I say it gets better is because you get used to it. You ever enter a smelly room and once you linger there for a while, you get used to it and it smells like it never smelled bad in the first place? That. It never stops smelling bad, you just got used to it. Thankfully, there is an option to play with Japanese voice acting, but being the person that I am, I always choose the dub over sub. The battle music was alright. Normally I'm all about the battle music, and this wasn't bad, it just didn't hit the mark for me. There are different battle themes depending on the enemy or boss that do change the tone of battle. But if you asked me which theme specifically, I wouldn't be able to tell you off the top of my head because none of them resonated with me. Xenoblade 2 shines with each Titan theme, or area theme. Thus, it's honestly hard to give you my favorite, so I'm going to give you 2 daytime tracks and 1 nighttime. One of the daytime themes is so good, I have to talk about it. And the second day theme is one I also like, but I want to use it to show you guys the comparison between day and night in the same region. This is More Ardain, Roaming the Wastes. It is my favorite daytime theme song. This is probably one of the best desert themes I've heard of all time. It's loud, it's bold, it pumps you up. And it should have been the battle music, in fact. Even at its lowest point, the song is still intense. Like, listen to this build-up. Now this is the contrast between day and night songs. Same location, different times of day. First, daytime. Now this is the same region and my favorite nighttime track. It almost puts me to sleep every time. Enjoy Uraya's nighttime sound. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 regrettably gets a 7 out of 10. It is just an unpolished game. It easily could have used an extra 3 months. I mean, congrats on not being delayed, but whew, did it come at a price. You could travel areas before they were fully rendered, the voice acting, the awful navigation system, which I don't understand, because Chronicles X had a great mapping system, so I don't know what happened. Why didn't you expand on it? Random inconsistencies in menus. The RNG mechanic for getting rare blades was just unacceptable. No way to review tutorials. The random technical issues. I mean, it's just, what happened? Where were your heads at, guys, at Monolith Soft? Like, what was going on? How did this get approved? On a positive note, the story was good, which is what a lot of people were worried about considering X's story was shit. I personally don't think it beat Chronicles 1, but still good. The band of characters was good. Not my favorite lot, but acceptable. Another thing I should mention, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 did get a patch December 22nd, helping out the navigation system and some buggy quests, but by that time I was done. 193 hours in this game. I didn't care to revisit it. And especially that they didn't even like correct the RNG system in Blades. No thank you. I did leave the details on the patch in the description below. Click the link and hopefully you'll have a better experience with this game than I did if you haven't played it yet. Thank you for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And check out my social medias. Lots of opinions on video game news or just video game memes. Anyways, I love you so much. Mwah. Okay, this thong, incredibly uncomfortable.